Okay, I'll call this meeting of the Village of Whitney Point to order. I'm Bob Heinley. I'm the Deputy Mayor. I'll be moderating the meeting tonight. Minutes from the June 24th board meeting. Have you had a chance to look at them?
Looks good to me.
Good with you, Michael?
I'm fine with them, yeah.
Okay, we'll let them be approved as they stand. Now, item number 2, meet our laborer candidate, Josh Montoya. Hello, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Tell us just a little bit about yourself and about your willingness to come work with the village.
Well, I moved to Whitney Point. Let's just start right there. 14 years ago my adventure was I've always been a construction worker. I worked from New York to Washington State and back in my lifetime. Union and non-union, blacktop and commercial and residential buildings. So I came up with an adventure to buy a place in Whitney Point to buy and flip. And it was a 3 to 5 year project. Live here, flip it, make it look nice. Well, me and my wife fell in love with Whitney Point. And the house became done, and here we are. We stayed. So in the meantime, I worked
Okay, good deal.
Construction my whole life. My family's general contractors, right down to my stepfather being a highway superintendent of Marathon my whole life. And Whitney Point, we fell right in love with it. The people here, we've made a lot of great friends. And we like the community. And I got to the point where I'm tired of packing my suitcase on Sunday morning and leaving Sunday afternoon and getting home at midnight on Friday. I have a family, 2 daughters, and I'm ready for some stability and normalcy in my life. I think the village could serve both of that, and I think I could serve the village very well. I'm a hard worker. Nothing scares me for work. I've done it all. I've done some stuff that most people would never want to do. And I'm looking forward to working with Scott. I've known Scott over the years by changing water lines and sewer lines at my house. And Scott and Jim have been nothing but a pleasure to work with. And I thought maybe working under Scott would be a great thing to do. So here I am.
Thanks. And Mike or Jason, you have questions or anything you want to know?
Where was your previous employment?
Suco Corporation. Yep.
I was going to ask him about fences, but
I've done them too.
But I'm glad to hear somebody is positive about being here in Whitney Point. That's great. It's awesome.
It's a good village. There's a lot of good people here.
Okay. Anything else, anybody?
Oh.
Well, I think Josh, how this will work. When we're done talking, we'll excuse you and we'll go on with our meeting, and at some point we'll address the employment issue, and then Linda will be the one who will get a hold of you, or Scott, I don't know which, let you know how you made out. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it won't be till tomorrow, Josh, by the time we get done tonight.
That's understood. So maybe not hold my breath all night?
Yeah, don't hold your breath all night. You're
I should ask, do you have questions for us? Anything you want to know about us or about the village? Or
I had a huge list when I went into the interview, and I know this COVID thing kind of throws a curveball into everybody's mix. So I figured I had the one shot. And really, a lot of it was about benefits and stuff like that. And Scott and Ryan were able to answer everything that I needed to answer. The job, I would be, like I told Scott and Ryan, I would be a fool to think that I knew everything about working for the village. But a lot of the stuff I've already done. And I know there'll be a learning curve, but I'm a fast learner. I'm a hard worker. Keep that in consideration for me.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with water systems before?
Supply lines and dump lines. Other than chlorinated and stuff, which they explained to me up front, you know, I would have to get certified, and I
Right.
got 6 months
Right.
and all that, which that I figured there would be some kind of certification down the road
Right.
as I got my hands wet with it, which is no problem.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of this job is also not just fixing the broken stuff, but dealing with people as well.
Yes.
So yeah, you're comfortable doing that. It looks like you seem pretty comfortable speaking to us, but
Like I told you, the guys that interviewed me, Suco, I was a foreman. Every time there was a problem. Now you've been stuck in road construction, and usually nobody's very nice at all. They're throwing stuff at you.
yeah, sorry
They've
about
called
that.
me. I've been called everything under the sun and all. One thing I've learned, and I taught guys that I trained, is that you just smile and you reassure them everything's going to be good and we're going to be right on it ASAP and everything's going to work out. And I'm sorry about the inconvenience. And you have to maintain it. You can't take it personal what people say to you, because in the end of the day, I get that there's urgency. I get that they're going to be upset. And when people are upset, they're kind of at their dumbest. And you just smile and you do the best you can for them and you reassure them. And at the end of the day, you hope that they understood that you did the best you could for them. And you don't get excited. Getting excited is I'm 42. I don't get excited about that anymore.
Now, not everybody throws things at suit coat workers. When you paved my road recently, my grandson and I went and got our lawn chairs and came out and sat down and enjoyed watching the big machinery work. So
Yes.
not everybody.
All those guys are good friends of mine. They still reach out to me weekly. I call it the Suit Coat Weekly Report. They're still like brothers from another from me, and I'm going to miss them, but I won't miss being gone from my family.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that that's a reason that you're taking this. I think it's hopefully it'll work out well for you and for us.
I think it will. I think I got to get my get my hands dirty, but I'm looking forward to that. Prove my worth.
And
Yeah.
some things could take up to 5 years to learn because it only happens once in 5 years too, Josh. Keep that in mind.
Yes, ma'am. Jim did bring me up to speed. You might never see this, but every 5
years,
said, every 5
scuba
years.
guys come in and clean the tanks and yeah.
Yep. And it's kind of hard to learn it doing it once every 5 years.
Absolutely, but it is the nature of the beast.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else for us, Josh?
Just everybody stay safe, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from Linda tomorrow.
Good. Trustees, you're all set?
I am. Nice to meet you, Josh.
Nice to meet you.
Josh. Thanks for stopping by and getting to know you a little bit under these COVID circumstances.
Yes, weird times in society.
It is. It
Thank you.
is. Take
Thank
care,
you,
buddy.
Josh.
Okay, so
We'll be
I'm
in
logging
touch.
off now, right?
We'll be in
Okay,
touch.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a great
good
night.
Bye. Which one? I want to make sure I do it right.
There we go.
We've
Don't
all
we
been
all?
there.
And they're done
Done
that.
that.
He's not going to fix the computers. Just so you know.
No. You're not using his Zoom. He told me that.
Oh,
But it's great that he signed on to get to meet everyone.
yeah,
He seems very personable. That
very.
goes a long way. Hopefully, you know.
It's important for this job.
Mhm.
It's important for this job. So
Oh my goodness. Jeez.
Wow.
All right.
what
All
is
right.
that?
Anybody got any silver on them? Out. Okay, that's cute. But out. Close that door. Come on, get out.
It's like watching Seth Meyers. He's got the
Hey,
got the guys in the closet. Is that
crazy
Ethan Hawke back
werewolf
there?
kid. Oh my.
Now the dog's
That's-
barking, right?
Ah, well.
Yeah.
Well, the
We need some
werewolf scared
normalcy
him.
again. As you can see, we're not returning to normalcy anytime soon.
That may be his normal. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it could be.
All right. item number 3, the pool filling request of DeMarco.
Sure. What has happened was this is he had called Jim first, and then he had also called the office. He wanted to get a reduced rate to use the water from the village to fill his pool without being charged for the sewer portion of it. It's a first-time pool use. Sandy went back in the minutes. We don't have a policy for this. Sandy went back in the minutes from June 11th of 2008. A resident received an inquiry from Mayor Whitehead received an inquiry from a resident regarding relief for filling of the pool. It was hooked into the sewer prior to filling his pool. Wanted to know if he could get the board was in agreement. There was no allowance for relief for filling pools with village water. Then in April of 2018, Mayor Reynolds noted that Jim had asked about using the village water to fill a pool and the charge for that. There was discussion amongst the board that the treated village water should not be used for filling pools, and breaks in water usage will not be given if someone does this. So that's the past history that we have since there's no policy.
Precedent seems pretty strong here, though. Go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I felt, well, just hearing the what you laid out there, Linda. We don't have a history of doing this with any type of rebate or anything of that nature, I thought that was usually you just contacted the fire department, didn't the fire department?
Well, that's an option. You can contact the Lisle Fire Department, and then Jim would keep track of the hydrant that they use, and then we would bill the Lisle Fire Company for that. Or some have just taken their garden hose and just filled the pools that way. He wants to use garden hose and just not be charged the sewer rate. He's called here and said so much as, well, Jim said to use the default setting on the water meter. Jim has no clue what he's talking about with using the default setting. There is no default setting.
No.
But without a policy, written policy, this is what our history has been.
And I would hesitate to set a precedent allowing this, because usually this time of year, our water levels are not doing too well.
Right.
And yet, again, this year.
Absolutely.
Well, Jim said they're actually not doing too bad, but this past week.
Right now, we're good.
Right now, we're good because they got that break fixed in Lisle. But I keep asking and they've put off fire hydrant flushing until September because water is getting lower. And usually that's done about this time of year. So.
And I did have a conversation with Jim about this the day I was at the office, and he reaffirmed that we have never, if people fill them, they use the water, they get charged for the water. If they want to fill it another source, our fire department has never filled pools, and we don't want them filling pools, and Lisle does, and then Jim charges the Lisle Fire Department, and the fire department charges the people whatever they want to charge them or donate to them or whatever, however they handle that end of it. But
yeah, I don't understand why they want to pass on paying whatever money it would take for the extra water, only because you would figure that you would have put this into the money that it would take to install the pool in the first place, that would be just part of the cost that you would be dealing with when you do it.
So I imagine
I understand the request.
Right, and the possibility that a fire department could bring river water.
The residents' issue is the fact that it's not going down the sewer, but yet they would be charged a sewer rate. That's what his issue.
Well, I'd say our official stance as a village is we do not recommend filling pools with village water.
right.
And we don't make any special accommodations for those who decide to go against our recommendation.
And
That seems to be
on a smaller scale, if I wash my truck, that water's not going down. I don't try to recoup that the cost from. And when I'm watering a garden, at night, I'm doing so knowing that it's not going down the sewer, but knowing that I'm going to pay for the water that I'm using from the garden and stuff. So
it's a one-time usage thing anyways, really, in all honesty. And so I'm not sure we're not, obviously what Jason said and what you've said, Bob, and what Linda with the information, we're not setting any precedent for this. This is, you have to incur the cost.
Nate, do we need a motion on this?
no.
No, it would be a non-action. He's just sent correspondence in to the board. We can do nothing.
Okay.
It might be worth us, looking to put something, if we don't have a written
We don't.
policy, maybe we should look at that going forward.
Did you say, Linda, that this was last time looked at in 2018
Yes,
with
April
Ryan?
25th of 2018, when Jim brought it before the board at that time. And Ryan, it was noted that Ryan brought this up because Jim brought it to him.
So we are seeing a little frequency with this. Maybe
Well,
it is
this
time
year
to have a
probably-
formal policy.
This year probably more than others because people are staying home because of COVID, and a lot of people are putting pools in or whatever. So
Yeah.
but we definitely need a policy going
Okay.
forward, something to work on.
Okay.
Because
So-
we have a fire hydrant policy, but that's not addressing this issue.
So Linda, maybe just make a note of that somewhere for us to
I've got
look at in the future. Thanks.
Yep.
Anything else for this? Okay. Mr. DeCoursey wants us to waive his tax penalty.
I also uploaded a letter that was shared from Real Property in Broome County this afternoon with me just before the meeting. In response to him contacting Real Property over his issue. Apparently, Mr. DeCoursey turned of age in October. Our tax year is set as of July 1, the year before. So our taxes that are out right now, our tax roll is based on July 1, 2019. He was not of age at that time. He had gone to see Ron Keibel a number of times. Ron, he put his application in. Ron explained all this to him. He didn't qualify for our village aged exemption at this time. He continues to trying to get this resolved and get an answer that he wanted of getting his aged exemption included on his taxes for right now. In that interim, he asked the village for relief on his penalty. Broome County Real Properties told him that he needed to pay his taxes on time and that we would reissue a check if it was determined that he was allowed to have that discount. He did not pay his taxes. So the penalty is due along with the taxes at this time. He's asking for relief on the penalty. That's what it's all about.
It sounds to me, again, I may be misreading this, but pay your taxes and then maybe we can do something. I'm not sure there's much else to do. If you haven't paid your taxes, what are we?
Basically, it's just either you're going to give him the relief on his penalty or you're not going to give him the relief on his penalty. There's nothing at this point. He does not qualify for the aged exemption.
So if he doesn't qualify.
Not till next year. He'll get it next year, but not this year.
Okay. So you can
So what
explain it to.
what happened, Mike, is he did not pay his taxes because he was in the midst of trying to fight to get the
Okay.
exemption.
Yeah.
And he was not eligible.
Now,
At some point along the way, I think the former mayor had said to him, I think you need to pay your taxes and then if you get a refund or whatever, that's one thing, but to not pay your taxes might not be a good deal. So
Broome County Real Property told him the same thing. You need to pay your taxes, and if you're due a refund, they'll give it back to you. Keep in mind, Mike, that this is also the individual who held the position I have for many years and is well aware of the date of the tax roll.
Okay. So
I mean, he established the taxes for years is what I'm saying.
yeah. I'm not getting, maybe I'm not sure what we honestly could do if we wanted to do anything. I mean, I'm looking at the email here.
I'm not certain what, sorry to cut you off, Mike. I'm just not certain what
No,
the
do it.
of forgiving late fee is, because the taxes are late. He wasn't precluded from paying his taxes. He just chose not to.
Correct.
I understand. I mean, I don't know how much money we're talking about as far as, or even if that even matters. But if it was, I guess there's two sides of it. If it was a non-trivial amount, he may not be able to afford it.
But I'm looking at there's an email correspondence here, and I'm looking at, and it says I've lived in Whitney Point paying, village and school taxes and town taxes since 1982. I'm not asking for anything special, just what I'm entitled to. That's a problem. Not entitled to it because you didn't qualify. Therefore, you are asking for something special. I'm not even a lawyer, but that one's a pretty easy one to dissect.
And folks, this is Nate, of course. You're hitting on all the right points that he's not apparently entitled to it. And then just remember, if somebody wants to contest their taxation level, then they would file with the assessment review board, whether you have a BAR or if it's just with the tax assessor. And if somebody hasn't done that properly, then they've missed their opportunity to get any sort of an exemption anyway. Everything that I'm being told, on this call right now is that he wasn't entitled to it in the first place, which means he should have paid it. And once somebody's penalties are assessed, I believe that a village can't forgive penalties or anything like that anyway. It's if the penalty is assessed by state law, it's assessed, he has to pay it. If he chooses to sue the village in some fashion, maybe we can have a different discussion about this, but that's not the context that we're talking about right now.
Right. His penalty right now is $41.51. I think that was your question, Jason. Was that your question?
Yeah, but part of me was wondering if it was even really valid. It's more the point than the amount. But
Right.
So the state is the one that mandates this penalty, and not us.
It is there's a penalty schedule on taxes on whether it's village, state, town and county, whatever they are, and that schedule comes out on your bill at the time you receive your taxes, and it tells them right on the bottom, if it's not paid by this date, it is this much.
It's typically 1% per month.
It's usually 1% by 7/31. By July 31st, it's the 5% part, and that's what
$41.51. You can't even get a baseball ticket for $41.51.
Well, not the Yankees, at least.
Nobody these days. Yeah, Yankees. Yeah.
But it seems like this was avoidable.
Yeah.
Okay, so my sense is that the board is going to, again, I think Nate used the phrase, take a non-action with regard to this.
Correct.
I see one board member nodding his head.
I'm that's what I'm. We're not doing anything because I don't think there's anything we really can do.
Yeah.
At this moment.
Nate, is that the right action?
Yes, this is basically correspondence. There's no motion in front of the board. The board is choosing to make no motions about this.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. Thank you for the correspondence. We're done.
Okay, we're good, everybody?
Oh.
All right, fire department. Sorry, Mike, you got something?
No, I'm just reading the agenda with glee.
Hiya.
Well, some of it's going to be short because there's 2 reports not there, so.
Amen to that.
Fire department has two new members to put before us to approve pending their physical and their background check. They have voted to accept these 2 new firefighters. One is named Victor Spencer, and the other is Michael Ruland, R-U-L-A-N-D.
Yeah, I had him as Robert Ruland. I'm glad you just said that, Bob.
His middle name is Robert.
Okay.
At least that's what's on the sheet.
Okay.
His name is Michael Robert Ruland.
Okay.
Yeah. I was part of the meeting the other night that we went through the details of their background and where they work and live and all that. One is a firefighter coming to us from the Norwich Fire Department. He is more somebody a little little bit younger than me, but is clear that he's joining to do, willing to do certain tasks, his days of running into burning buildings are over, and that's important because we have a need for all kinds of people. So if you have a question, I don't know whether I can answer it or not, or maybe look it up on their application here.
We lost
But,
Nate.
if not, we'll need a motion to approve.
Pending.
I think we could do these in the same motion if you're so inclined.
Yeah, just pending physicals, that's all.
Pending physical and background check.
I'll make that motion.
Nate,
Second.
go ahead, Nate.
Oops, sorry. No, it's I got disconnected.
Okay, I thought you wanted to say something.
I mean, I'll say anything, but I was disconnected.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? There is at least one other person who's in the pipeline, but it hadn't progressed enough to act on at the fire department meeting yet. So there'll be another one coming, and this is kind of good that we seem to have a couple of new people interested. So any other discussion? Call the vote. Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Okay, the attorney's report. Now we'll ask you to talk, Nate.
So we have, I think, coming up at the next meeting on the agenda, some sort of a review for a sign. It's either going to be, I believe it's site plan, but we just need to double check that. Ken had forwarded it to me earlier this week.
That's the
I have
Brooke County Fairgrounds.
Right. They're replacing the existing billboard with a digital billboard. So I just need to review that in a little more detail, and I'll be able to tell you exactly what we're doing on that for the next meeting.
It's the commercial billboard that's there on the fairgrounds along Route 11.
Yes. I believe that's the one.
Yeah, they've indicated it's the existing billboard. They're basically changing it to a digital billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that fall within the idea of updating something without not something new? How does digital make it new?
Well, that's part of what I'm looking at right now, just to see exactly what our code says.
Yes.
There's
Signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one. 20-some years ago, I was involved with the Arby's sign. And some people haven't forgiven me yet for that, so I'm aware. All right, thanks for making us aware. Anything else, Nate?
Nope, that was it as of now.
Okay, thanks. Clerk Treasurer's report.
It's just the monthly report that's there that when I closed out the end of year or end of month. So they're all good.
Yeah, so many I can't find it quickly. There it is. Okay. Any discussion about that? That's something we need to approve, Linda?
No, it's just FYI.
It's just the report, right?
Just a report.
Okay. Code enforcement has no report, is that correct?
He's not submitted one.
Do we know whether the new person has started or?
Oh yeah, he's been in at least 2 or 3 times that I've been with him. So
Okay.
he's definitely here. He does Saturdays. He will be in this Saturday because last Saturday was the holiday. So he is going to be here this Saturday. And Ken will do Mondays and David will do Saturdays.
All right. Okay. Okay. So dog control. Do we have a dog? Yes, we do. Any comments on the dog report? Usually we don't. Have too much?
No.
Okay. Fire department. Man, I see that. Okay. I see I heard last night that the dry hydrant got put in the town of Barker.
Yeah, it's on his
Yep,
next third to last thing.
I see it there.
Yep.
So that's good. Any questions about the fire department?
No.
Okay, library.
Received no report, but I know that she has inquired about a new hire for part-time substitute and also cleaner position. So I have not got anything further from her and her board regarding that person yet.
That's one person?
One person.
Okay. All right. Public Works.
The answer to the question is Justin is working somewhere else, so has no assistance to Scott. So Scott's by himself. Just an FYI to answer your question from Friday, Mike and Bob and Jason.
Were we getting a resignation from him, or?
I asked for it. I haven't gotten it yet, but I've asked since he's working at another Broome County entity.
Okay. I would just mention again to him next time that if he doesn't give us a resignation, we have to terminate him.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look good. So we
Well,
have no desire to do that.
correct.
But we need to fill this position, and he can't be in it when we do.
Correct.
Right.
Simple letter of resignation. 3 sentences.
I
Thank
resign.
you.
Okay.
So Scott's working with his new handheld. He said he likes it because it'll go and read multiple places, and he's like, it's just reading for him, and it's just a lot easier when it comes to the meter. The radio reads is what I had to think of the term. So he told me that today that is nice.
Okay, I don't see anything necessarily to talk about on the Public Works report. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Public Works?
Dorchester Heights looks wonderful.
It does.
The roads are great.
Even if we did have a full-size tractor trailer run on it 2 days after it was laid down before it even cooled.
Still don't know how that happens.
Just come on down to Sleepy Collins Street. It's real sleepy down here. Real quiet.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the GPS keeps bringing these trucks up in the cul-de-sac neighborhood, but it's,
How do they get out?
it's
You'd think they
exciting
see
when
that
they're
circle and they're like, oh no, we're not going up there.
It's like, how do they get out, without damaging signs and things?
there. Must have been a good one because he did get out without taking anything down. Scott happened to be up there when the truck went through. So, okay, old business. Anything under old business, Linda?
I have nothing.
Anybody?
Oh, just tied to Public Works. I come to think of it, I know I really appreciate Jason and Scott. I had Fran Leahy at the house early Sunday morning and
Right.
had a fairly sizable water issue. And Jason, I really appreciate your help, and Scott getting there and taking care of that. That was nice because I, at 7:55, just had a cup of coffee and I was a little groggy. It was July 4th, the day before, So thank you.
I apologize. There was sewer, and I didn't have that report on here. I sent it to you, did I not?
Yeah, sewer's here.
Yeah.
We did. I didn't have it on the agenda, so I apologize.
Okay, well,
And he needs a critical piece of equipment. Sorry.
all right, let's look at sewer then.
Okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you for catching it
Better
though.
catch it, yeah.
A basin #1 decanter failed. I hate when my basin #1 decanters fail. You know what I'm saying?
I know it.
I do. But at least it wasn't a basin #4
We should push this.
decanter fail, because then you just don't ever recover.
By $4,300.
Yes.
Ow.
44 almost, yeah.
Wow.
At that rate, my basin can stay undecanted.
No, I don't think it can.
I don't know. An undecanted basin.
Throw an awfully big carp in the river.
All right. I guess we don't have much choice, but geez, we're spending a lot of money.
Yeah, in a year,
Yeah,
when income is likely to
$4,300.
be whacked.
So is that a motion?
Where are we gonna take it from?
It would have,
Any idea?
I cannot get to their stuff at the moment.
But he's asking for another spare. He's not asking for an immediate fix. We already had the spare. Excuse me, and that's now used in place.
He used the spare room. 1 second, Bob.
Okay.
I'm glad I hadn't put it in the book yet. All right.
I said hi, Jason.
Mr. Hadley says hi.
I guess if we don't think we can get it right now, we can roll the dice, but I'm
He
not eager to do that.
He has 2,000 set for a well, that's pump stations. He's got $5,300 in plant equipment that has not been utilized at this point. It's early in the year. His contingency is only 19,000 this year. So it's not a very big contingency. So if there's a major problem down the road, 10 months in, we may be in big trouble.
So his plant equipment would cover this.
Would cover that, yes. But he couldn't do whatever else he had under plant equipment. See what I'm saying? Without taking it from somewhere else.
Okay, people.
It's a critical piece of equipment. We don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Like,
ultimately, it's a question of what do you need and what do you want. And,
A need versus a want.
and if he's accurately describing this as a critical piece of equipment, we don't have much of a choice.
So is that a motion?
I don't know. Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Whew. All those in favor say aye. Oh, sorry, I got to call a roll call. I forgot. I'm not doing a church meeting. I'm doing village. Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. My other Zoom hat is rearing its ugly head here. Okay. Anything else with public works, Linda?
No, that was it. That was all the reports. I apologize for not having that on there.
Okay. Do we need to do anything with, maybe it's under new business, with the mayor's resignation letter? Do we need to read that into the, not read it necessarily, but place it into the?
Nate, is that?
You should acknowledge it, and then I mean the mayor and any officer of the village can resign. There's no action needed by the board.
Okay.
Typically, boards accept it, but there's nothing for you to actually vote on. I would recommend that the village board appoint someone to hold the mayoral position, because there's only a bare quorum tonight. I'm assuming the trustees would appoint someone who is currently a trustee to the position. And so the person would have to recuse themselves from that vote, which means you don't have enough votes to actually appoint someone tonight.
We're way ahead of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we discuss that further under executive session personnel matters when we discuss the other position?
I guess that's up to the board.
I think
Might
that's
as
what we'll
well.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, any other old business? I guess we'll put the mayor's resignation. The board has received a resignation letter from Mayor Reynolds resigning. I can't remember the date
The
effective.
30th
The 30th.
at 2 p.m.
June 30th. So we will acknowledge that letter and we'll thank the mayor for his years of service and wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
And thank you, Bob, for stepping up in the interim here.
No problem.
Yes.
Hey, Bob.
Thank you for Linda and everybody for helping me deal with things over the last week. Any other new business? We forgetting anything, Linda?
Not that I'm aware of. It's just moving into the executive session.
Trying to think if there was anything else.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, I should have, and I don't have the list with me. I should have had the list with me of things that the mayor left, just to make the board aware. What is it, LWRP?
The LWRP.
We're waiting to hear back from the state, because we have in our plan for Toma to be the head honcho, I can't
The
remember.
administrator.
The administrator, thank you. And we want to make sure that
That we don't
Okay.
need an RFP.
yep, okay with them, or do we have to send out a request for proposal, an RFP? So we're waiting to hear back. The mayor had contacted them. Jason, can you remember anything else that
Oh,
we talked
geez.
about that we ought to just put on for the board?
I had an email I can check, but I think the LWRP was the main thing. We addressed the new labor. We addressed. No, I think
Yeah, I
the
think we-
LWRP was the one thing I was concerned about because I know David put a lot of time into that, and I didn't want to lose it, and I wasn't
Right.
sure what our time frame was.
Right,
Speaking of grants, just an FYI, I had sent everything into the state, to DASNY for the reimbursement for the Public Works building. They have already sent back a list of things that they needed that they didn't feel that they had. So I've sent some more of that stuff out to them. It could take 4 to 6 months before we get that reimbursement back from the state, just so you know.
okay. Thank you for working on that. Anything else? Well, I can't make the motion.
I'll move that we go to executive session,
Second.
discuss personnel matters.
For personnel, okay. Any discussion about that? Call the vote. Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well.
All right, so you're back on.
Okay, so we are recording again. We're coming out of executive session. I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to move that we approve the previous mayor's recommendation to hire Josh Montoya for the position of laborer as advertised.
I second it.
Any other discussion? Call the vote. Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Need a motion to appoint a mayor.
Want to do this one too, Mike? I can do this one too.
You can do it if you want, Jason. I have no problem. I can do it. It's not a problem.
I would like to make a motion to appoint David Downs as interim mayor of the village to complete Ryan's term.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion? Nate, that's in a form that's acceptable.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. Just wanted to double check. Call the vote. Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. Any other business to come before the board?
No.
Then I'll declare this meeting adjourned.